Sorry, I kept playing the first second of it, and I was like, oh, there's some electro shit there. And it's 5 minutes and 20.
Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Life, gbhblofficial for sure. And it's Christmas reaction time. We're going to last year because at the time recording his new one, we can't actually do because it's not out until tomorrow. That's my mistake, but we've got limited time, so we're doing this the day before. We are going back to last year and Rick Massie's Christmas tune, which he's done a few over the years. We're looking at We Three Kings, which I kind of want to do reaction to because I've heard it before, but it was last year, so I've kind of forgotten it completely. But it's also one of those that isn't often covered. At best, off the top of my head, I can only think Rob Halford, and has done it. And even his version was good, not particularly great either. So I'm intrigued to see what Rick Massie do, because Rick Massie is a progressive metal rock artist who's released a few things. His latest album is Guided to an Imperfect Light, which was an album rated very highly. In fact, one of the songs on that album still gets regular play. So I'm a fan of this man. But particularly, I'm always impressed by any solo artist that continues to put out great music. And Rick Massie puts out a lot of good music. I know you'll be aware of his name, but, you know, familiarity with some of his Christmas stuff. What about that?
Not so much with the Christmas stuff. I do more familiar with the album Guided to an Imperfect Light, to be honest with you. I've definitely not heard this We Three Kings cover before, and I don't think off the top of my head I knew that Rick Massie had done any Christmas stuff, so that's just my own oblivious nature. But there you go. We Three Kings is, oh god, you're right. Yeah, obviously the Halford one jumps to mind straight away. I do think I can think of a couple of others that have come up. I think there's one like a specific like extreme death one that I showed you a year or two back, which do a very dirty, dark cover of it, and
you know, does ring a bell. Yep,
but like not to the level of some of the songs that get covered. You know what I mean? I can't think of hundreds of them, so not painful. It's not scary like that. It's this. It could have been worse. Could have been God Rest You Merry Gentlemen.
Well, interestingly enough, his next one out on December 10th is We Come, Oh Come All Ye Faithful. So that could be a bit more difficult, because I don't know about you, but that is not a track I particularly love.
And I've heard all these songs, like the minute you say the like name of these songs, first one that pops in my head straight away, Halford again.
Yeah, I was about to say, because that's probably the best version I've heard of it. But I don't mind Twisted Sisters as well, truth be told. So there are elements of that. But this is We Three Kings by Rick Massie. We're going to do this in 3, 2, 1, go. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you should definitely go first in this.
Can I just say something then, mate, that has no bearing on anything whatsoever, but it's been bothering me for the whole song. It's nothing to do with the song,
Go
right?
on.
But where it says Rick Massie up in the top right corner of it,
Uh,
because the M and the E in particular are much bigger, all I keep seeing is ass. That's it. Because it just stands out like it's slightly different to the letters around it. So it just says ass. And every time I look there, I'm like, ass. It's like, stop it. But anyway, like I said, no bearing on it, but it's like a minute in, I was like, oh, fuck's sake. Now I can't unsee it. Anyway, uh, wow. It's expansive, isn't it? It
Something,
took a
isn't it?
while for me to like completely, like, like I think we both sort of went, oh, there it is, like at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, like where I was like, it was so like I couldn't even get a song. I didn't know where it was. I was like, okay, because obviously when you're doing a cover, when you do a carol, whenever you do any of that, we all know the certain parts of it. We know the melodies. We know what's going to happen. So you're waiting for that to happen. There's no getting away from when you're doing a cover that you got to do it.
Yeah.
But I think we was a little while into it before it started sort of settling down. I like the build up to it.
Hmm.
The melody, then when you're playing it, it is still just a melody. I could see him trying to do like some different things to it, but I didn't actually like what he did at the beginning. I didn't like that mad echo. I felt like it sounded like really weird. It was like I just wanted to get through that melody, but instead it was like coming like as a double wave of attack. But that's just a personal preference for me. I can see him potentially, going right, okay, I don't want to just do the melody. I want to add something new to it.
Which, yeah.
Vocals are great, drums are great, guitars are great. There's loads of cool shit going on, like pianos. It's certainly for me at least, a unique take on this song, and I love it for that.
Mm.
Okay. The last thing I wanted was to just hear We Three Kings again. I do feel like there are like little missteps here and there. Like I said, that echo on the first time the We Three King kind of melody comes in, I didn't enjoy that. It was too much. Like it just meant that when the next line of the top level note was playing, the one behind it was still playing, so they were blending, and I couldn't
Hmm.
quite hear it, I guess, which is weird in a way because I didn't necessarily need to hear it because I know what the melody is, but it was what was happening.
Yeah.
It was the same in the second verse. I don't know like what it was because I'm not musical enough to explain what I was hearing, but it like sort of switched up again. It came in for the second verse, but the music was like loud, so at first I couldn't hear the vocals and it was kind of blending again, and then it sort of settled down. So I felt like, I guess, we talk about transitions between pieces within songs, that there were occasions within this song where I didn't feel like the transition was smooth.
Flowed well.
It wasn't like, oh my god, this is the end of the world or anything like that, but it were two things that stuck in my head. It was like, oh, I don't like that noise, and oh, I don't like that noise. There were 2 points. Everything else though I really enjoyed. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was quite different. Uh, and I needed it to be, because otherwise I would have hated it, man. That's the
Yeah.
truth. If it was just like straight up, A to B, here's my version of We Three Kings, I was never gonna like come out of that with too much positive to say. So the fact that it is different is an instant positive. I like his voice a lot. I like
Mm.
as you would expect, there are points in the songs where it gets like a bit heavier and the drums kind of really kick in, and
Mm.
where on my preference sort of sections of it. And aside from those two moments that I mentioned, I do weirdly enough still think the song flows quite well, and it's quite exciting to listen to because it starts off so kind of meandering to get to the We Three Kings melody, that it also makes me then like not really feel like I know what he's going to do next, and that's quite exciting then to listen to it. And the idea that I'm listening to We Three Kings and being excited about what's going to come next is in itself a fucking wow, well done.
Yeah, it's a miracle. It's a miracle thing that
It's
you
a
could ever
Christmas
be.
miracle, mate.
Yeah. um, I'm glad you feel like so strongly about it, because I mean, like I said, once it kind of got going, and it was funny. I said when we both did acknowledge, oh, there it is, and stuff like that. But I didn't really have much memory of this, and I saw 5 minutes, and I was thinking, I know this artist. I know you can get quite progressively wandering, so you can be here. A song can start in a way, but not necessarily end in the same way it begun. But I always thought he was quite good at the flow. I do agree with you that the switches up here don't always, connect well together. It's like they're just slightly out of alignment. Like just like if it instead of being like a perfectly matched up railroad, one of the tracks is like slightly off and the train's going to derail if it hits it, that kind of thing. That was a really fucking shit analogy because that's like related to my job. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I went down that route. It's because I fucking did my tests yesterday for track related stuff. So it's kind of stuck in my head at the moment.
I hope you didn't deliver any of your test answers in that way.
No,
like
no.
When the tracks come together and shit.
Yeah, that shit, you know? No. Thankfully, I walked out of there not having killed myself or killed anyone else. So that's always a positive. But no, this is I actually love this, and I love this for something you kind of pointed on. We at this stage and a couple of years of kind of finding Christmas reactions and just generally listening to Christmas music, metal and rock, maybe more than we would have in the past because we are looking for new and fresh stuff. That we are at this stage now where I just do not want to fucking hear We Three Kings done as We Three Kings. I don't want to hear God Rest You Gentlemen. I don't want to hear Jingle Bells done the same boring ass way. Give me something wild, weird, and different. Even if it doesn't end in necessarily the most amazing of tracks, we will support you for doing something different. And that, to me, is fucking different in many different layers, while also being recognized. I feel like you'd kind of like almost have fun playing that to someone who has no knowledge of Rick Massie or that type of music and play it and they'll be like, what the fuck is this? 30 seconds in, that melody kick, they go, what, this is that? And so on, and then getting to see their experience of it, you know, so to speak, none of it's like that. But what I do love is that you do have this melody overall, which is done in a more somber tone as well. It's a little bit off key, slightly slower than the pace normally is. But then you get those heavier bursts, and you get a little smattering of a deathier voice. You got those heavier drums and all that. Early on in the song, there's a great layering of vocals, all the clean vocals over each other. It's that echo effect that you talk about, but it was on the vocals. And I really liked it there. But I also really like how it ends. I like the fact that we revert back to the simple keyboard piano melody of that, but done in an almost like outro way. And I think that's like the perfect time to sort of drop that in and leave it. And it's like, hey, we are here at the end, so it's totally fine.
Yeah,
I think it's brilliant. I really do really like that. That is up there as one of my, I mean, because there aren't that many to choose from, but up there as one of my favorite versions of Three Kings. I mean, the only thing that like puts Halford above it is it's Rob Halford's fucking voice, and you ain't never going to sound like Rob Halford unless you're Rob Halford. And even Rob Halford doesn't sound like Rob Halford as much these days. So yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good. Look, and you know, we've obviously although this is one video that goes out, we've done a few in a row now, so it's like, yay, yes, a good one.
A good one indeed. That is Rick Massie's version of We Three Kings. Check it out yourself. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?